Welcome back to the show. It's going to be a busy summer for Ken Workman and the Union, as they've already been booked for both Blues Fest and West Fest, and we're joined solo by Ken Workman here in studio today. Ken, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, sir.
And exciting times for you. I mean, summer is festival season. We have a lot of great music festivals here in Ottawa, and it must be pretty exciting for you to be booked already for both Blues Fest and West Fest.
Yeah, sure. We were, I was completely overcome after we did Blues Fest last year, and they wanted to have us back this year. Wasn't going to say no, and tack on West Fest. Going to be a busy summer. Going to be a fun summer.
Yeah, it's such an exciting time for musicians here in Ottawa. Maybe give us a sense of what the music scene is like here in Ottawa, because from our experience just bringing in more and more local artists, it seems to be growing and growing. Is that your experience?
Yeah, you've hit the nail right on the head. I find that's probably since about the 2005 mark, there's been this resurgence in local music, especially singer-songwriters. A lot of people doing the original music. The cover bands are still there, but people are really looking for the original music lately, and a lot of bands, friends I know in the Ottawa area, are really doing some great stuff here, and people are getting out there and singing it, and they're enjoying themselves.
Well, speaking of original music, you've been writing songs for years now. Tell us what inspires you to write songs, and maybe a little bit about your songwriting process.
I think it's been something that's evolved through quite a long time. I had a hand in some songwriting when I was younger. During my formative years, I took a lot of the creative process from other people, and I kind of tried to do my own thing, but it wasn't probably until my early to mid-30s, after I'd lived a while, had a family, been through all kinds of real-life experiences, where I could draw some of that and put it down on paper and be creative. A lot of the working class, the blue-collar stories that come out from listening to people at work, or a lot of personal struggle that I read about in the news. Things like that really inspire me, and I can kind of identify with certain things. It might be something as easy as a hook, right. Something catchy little jingle that I can repeat and take the cheap way out on a song, so to speak. But there are a lot of really great stories that I draw from local Ottawa, Canadian.
Well, 2009 was an exciting year for you, debut CD, and you got to work with a legendary producer. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I had finished a live off the floor CD. I didn't really take the project seriously. I went into Little Bullhorn Studios and did up a CD. Wasn't completely happy with the mix, although I knew I'd probably just be passing out in bars and pubs. So I contacted a producer, the only person who I really knew. I was a big Rush fan growing up, and I thought, well, this Terry Brown guy, he's been attached to so many projects, including them, for a long time, and I thought, well, maybe I'll contact his office and somebody can point a finger in the right direction in Ottawa to somebody who could produce it and do it up well. He said, he basically answered and said, why don't you send it to me? And I did. He loved it. He said, I won't take no for an answer. I have to do this project. And I was jaw to the floor, and really, and that's how that ball got rolling. Terry jumped on board, remixed everything, packaged up nicely, printed them off, and did great last year. And he's on board for the second one, which is in pre-production right now.
Yeah, let's talk about the second one. Have you changed the way you tackle music from the first CD to the second CD? I
think the productive process is going to be we're taking a little bit more seriously from my point of view. I mean, the first one was, it was kind of a fun thing. Let's see what we can do with this and have fun with it. This is a little more involved now. The songs are very much the same, but they've evolved a little bit. So it's going to be really interesting to see the transition from the first to the second CD. I think it's going to be very seamless and very interesting. Terry's going to be on board from the very beginning. It'll be a full produced CD. The first one was really great, what he did. This one's going to be interesting because it'll have that full studio production behind it.
Very exciting. Well, you're here solo today, but you often obviously play with the Union.
Yep.
Tell us about that live experience. What can people expect when they come to see Ken Workman in the Union?
Well, if anybody's got a hold of the first CD, that's a live off the floor production, so what they'll hear on the CD is pretty representation of what they're going to see at the live show. It's basically, kind of good roots rock. It's not noisy, not really in your face, but it's storytelling on top of that.
Right.
So you've kind of got the best of both worlds. I hear a lot of people really compliment